Alright guys, I'm going to do the Harbor Freight 9x20 Gear Head Lathe worm gear and saddle replacement. So basically I have the machine off and unplugged, and what I did was I already had it apart, so I didn't put it all back together because this video was sort of an afterthought. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is this. I'm going to take the top slide off with the tool post holder, and this is just obviously held in with T-bolts, and you guys know how to take that off. You take the nuts off of the T-bolts, and then we can just take this and set it aside. Then what you're going to have is you're going to have it like this. You're going to have your cross slide, and now what you could do is there's two Allen screws here, okay, one on either side. Let me see if I can get a close-up for you guys here. Okay, now there's two Allen screws here, okay. These ones back here only hold the clamps that hold the cross slide to the bed, so you don't really need to take these ones. You don't have to take the back ones out at all if you don't want to, and you can just take these ones off, and you just back them out. And I already did it, so we don't have to worry about it. I just have them in there. Oh, it's a little bit more than finger tight now. All right. And your apron will come down like that. Now you could just pull this out of your way and leave it on if you want, but like I said, here, let me back the camera up. You could just, if you wanted to, just slide this out of your way. But like I said, I'm taking it completely apart so I can clean every nook and cranny of it. Okay. You're going to be left with the apron on here like this. Okay. And to get the apron off, it's going to want to stay hooked in. There's a gear on here for your turn handle here. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to kind of just, it's going to be hooked in there. You just kind of pull it out like that and let it hang. On this side here, to get this off, on this side, there's a roll pin, okay, that lives in here. And what you got to do is just get a punch and punch this roll pin out, okay? And I'm not going to put it back in there because it's a bear, but you get your punch that'll fit snugly, that fits inside the diameter of the hole, and just punch this roll pin right out, okay? Then, what you got to do is, you're going to go ahead and, there's two Allen screws down here that hold this on, one on top, one on bottom. I only have one in right now, just for demonstration purposes, so I'll just take the one out. Okay, and then we can set that aside. And then basically this whole thing will just sort of pull right out, okay, just like that. So you'll have your apron, and we can bring it over to the workbench. Have it on the workbench. There's going to be 3 Allen screws, okay, that are right here. There's 3 holes, 1, 2, and 3. These 3 Allen screws hold the saddle in place, okay. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take and back these 3 Allen screws out like that, okay. So there's 3. There's 1, 2, and 3. This one here is kind of tough because you got to get around the wheel, but it is possible. You can do it without taking the wheel off. Okay. Now that we have that done, we can flip our apron around here. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, guys, and I didn't think I'd have to mention it because I'm sure you guys already knew that when you take the apron off, there's going to be this dust cover, and there's just these 4 little screws here that hold it on. It's really no big deal. You got to take the dust cover off. I don't think I should have to tell you that. Okay, so here's our saddle. Let me get us close up here. Okay, so our saddle's loose because we took our 3 screws out of it. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and we're going to pull it through We're going to pull. Now, before you do this, guys, I want you to be careful because you can see in your lead screw here, there's a keyway. Okay? There's a key inside the worm. Okay? So when you go to pull this off, you pull it through like so. You got to make sure your half nut lever is not engaged, obviously, so it's not holding the lead screw. Okay? We can take our lead screw. Now, like I said, be careful because the key might want to stay inside the lead screw or it might want to stay inside the worm. So we'll set this down. We can take our saddle off and our worm. Now, I already took the key out, so we don't have to worry about it. But here's the old saddle. Here's my old saddle here. And here's the old worm. And you can see there's a lot of play there. Okay? And when we install the new one, you'll see that there's not so much play. Now, what you have to do now is, now that we got our saddle and our worm out, okay, we have to take our worm gear off. Now, again, this worm gear has a key. There's a keyway with a key in it. Here's the key. It's very small. You have to be careful. When I went to order my parts, this was on back order, this key, and the key for the worm was on back order as well. So, be careful. Now, the way that I took my worm gear off is not the proper way. The best way to take this worm gear off is with a gear puller. If you have a gear puller, if you have access to a gear puller, that's definitely the way to do it. I didn't do it that way because I don't have one, and so what I did was I have a little brass punch, and basically, what I did was, okay, because I don't have a gear puller, I figured this is an old gear. This worm gear is an old gear anyway. I'm getting a new one, so I didn't really care if I really damaged it too much, but I didn't want to damage anything else in there. So what I did was I got a little brass punch here, okay, and I just took my little brass punch, set it up here like so, okay, and just tapped it, moved it, tapped it, moved it, okay, and this is the way I took my worm gear off. Now, mine's already off. I just stuck it on there for demonstration purposes. But again, be careful of that key. You don't want to lose that key, unless you got an extra one, and it doesn't matter. Here's our new part. Okay, here's our new worm gear. That's a nice shape. And I wanted to show you how nice and tight the worm and the saddle here on the new one are. You can see there's hardly any play at all. So, alright, so let's go ahead and install the new stuff. Get my brass hammer here. So, I'm just going to go ahead and line my key up, get my key to the top here so I know where it's at. Alright, and I'm going to get my key in there. And now let's line up our worm gear over top of our key. This has got to be just right. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I have a little brass hammer here. You want to use a brass hammer or a plastic hammer, something nice and soft. Just tap that sucker on. Okay. And that's to the hilt. Now, something I forgot to mention to you guys when I was taking this apart was that this worm gear has a washer and a screw to it. So I'm sorry I forgot to mention that, but that's something that you're going to want to take off before you go to take your worm gear off. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this up. And you can just hold your handle on the other side, get it nice and tight. Alright, as you know, that's going to take a lot of torque there. Okay, now let's get our new worm and our new saddle installed as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the apron around here so we can see it from this side. And ready to put it together. Now what I'll do is I'll put one of these screws on my Allen wrench just so I can have it gives me a little bit of a mechanical advantage here. Now I'm not going to go super tight with this first one. I'm just going to I'll get it hand tight and then I'll back it off like a half a turn or so, and that way it'll help line up your other screws. If you make that first one tight right away, your other screws will never line up. Alright, this one started. Same thing, not going to go super tight. I'm just going to kind of get it just there. So, alright. And you can see you can get this one without taking the wheel off. We can go ahead and we got our worm gear on, our new saddle, and we got to put our worm in. And see if I can do it by putting the key in the worm first. Now we got that installed. We got it in there. We made sure our key's nice in there. Key's not going anywhere. So let's go ahead and bring it back over to the lathe. All right, guys, we're back over at the lathe now, and let's just go ahead and reassemble. Let's go ahead and get our roll pin in first here, guys, and I'll get this out of the way. Now, it's kind of a lot of weight on the roll pin. But it's really the only way to do it. Okay, get your holes lined up. Okay, get your roll pin, and we'll get her started. Okay. Get our roll pin in there, nice and tight fit, that's good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our apron back up here, and we're going to engage these teeth onto the side of the apron once we get our cross slide back over. So get our cross slide back over, figure out how it's got to be, get those teeth lined up. You're going to get your screws that you took out earlier. Okay, I already have one loaded on my Allen wrench here, so I have a mechanical advantage. And just going to get it started. We're going to get about 4 or 5 threads in there. Okay, and we're not going to tighten it down, so we got to get the other one lined up and tightened up, because it will never find the hole if we tighten the other one down completely. So make sure our teeth are lined up on the they are. Make sure our levers are disengaged. And that's working pretty nice, guys. So now, what we're going to do is, we're going to go ahead and attach the other side of the lead screw here. And alright, guys, so that's basically it. I mean, we're reassembled. I mean, I don't need you guys don't need to see me put the dust cover or the tool post holder back on there or anything like that. So let's go ahead and fire it up and see if it's actually see if we did a good job here. So runs good up and down the ways here. So let's go ahead and turn our power feed on. It's working good, guys. Well, that's it. That's how you change out the worm gear, the worm. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you got something out of it.